Baritone Ukulele. What are you doing here? Hey, go to jollyrogerukulele.com. That's where I'm going to go right now. I'm going to post our link. It's 2:03. I'm running a little late to all the classes today. I don't know why. So you might fast forward just a couple minutes, and that way you can not sit through everybody logging in here. Um, do baritone ukulele class every single weekday at this time slot, and this is the end. We're nearing the end of week number 1 for the book 1 people, and of course we've started now digging into some of the book 2 songs as well. So we got a lot of music going on every day here, baritone wise. And we're going to turn this into a thing again. That's my plan. All right, so the link is posted. I got to make sure I have my song for the day. Today's main activity is strumming, which is weird. I don't really do much with it. Strumming is that. Hey, Linda, welcome in. Sound is good. Everything's working great today. So far, we've had no technical challenges. I can't believe I just said that out loud because it is baritone class, and of any class that we're going to run into technical challenges with, it's this challenge. It's this class. I'm mostly firing up my thingamabob to see if I have the sheet music downloaded. I recall downloading it earlier, so I'm hoping that I have it. Storage. Download. Baritone. KFC Strummers. Nice. Hey, Magdalena. Jolly swag. She's read ahead. Michelina's prepared. We are all jolly swag men. Kind of, huh? We're hobos from the musical world. We're not sure where we belong. All right. Let's see. Who else here? Pele made it in. Hey, Pele. Welcome. Ray is here. Good to see you, bud. And Terry. I know. Denver is so smoky. And the thingamabob says, I don't even necessarily feel that good right now. It's like, ugh. How much is the air out there? They're saying the air is 88. From my house, it looks like it's a lot worse than 88. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to grin and you're going to bear it. Terry lives just a few blocks from me, and we have a similar air quality, and I don't know. I had the door open earlier because it's such a pretty day here, and then now I just don't even feel good. My eyes are all like, throat hurts, breathing in all this smoke. Air is worse than yesterday. Yeah, it seems terrible out there. I don't know why the thing is saying 88. It seems like an easy 150, and we shouldn't complain too much because Michelina lives up in Portland, and she had 700 a couple weeks back. But hey, what are we if we're not complaining, huh? What are we? Just pleasant people? Whatever. Guys, on your sheet music for today, we are practicing strumming in the key of C. Key of C is a crummy key for baritone. Okay, let's just be honest. It's a bummer. The reason you have to do it is you're going to end up playing with ukulele players, and they love strumming in the key. That's C for them. Okay, and their hard chord is the G chord, which is your D chord. Your hard chord is F. Okay, so we're going to talk about F chord today. But before we do that, before we make you sad, let's play the Drunken Sailor down at the bottom of the page to the page 1, bottom right hand side. I want you to get to know D minor. It's a wonderful chord. Index on the first string, first fret. Middle finger on the third string, second fret. Ring finger on the second string, third fret. Okay, so not too hard to put on. Okay, hey Diane. Okay, What shall we do with a drunken sailor? And then you're going to go to C. Now notice, you don't need to pull everybody off and throw them away and start all over. Just lift your ring finger up a little and just take that same shape up 2 strings. Up the strings. 1 string. Move it from the strings that are on, up 1 string together. Okay? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Back to D minor. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? And back to C. We're lying back to the other one. Moaning. Okay. So try to do the least amount of work possible. I am here, then I'm here, then I'm back, I'm back. I am here, then I'm here, then I can get back. C minor, C, C, D minor. Okay, so let's do that. From the top. 1, 2, ready, play. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, early in the morning. Change the strum. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, early in the morning. Okay, now go to your thumb strum. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, early in the morning. The last one we're going to do, thumb, index, middle, ring. 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 What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Change. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, early in the morning. Nice thumb strum to finish. Okay. Yeah. Put a bing in on 10. Drunken Sailor has lots and lots of verses. The internet will serve you well if you decide, yep, that's a fun song. I want to do that. You'll grab a whole bunch of other lyrics to it. The one that I have in my guitar book, I think, has 19 different lyrics in it. So it's kind of a fun one to do. 2-chord song, right? D minor, and now you know for sure. D minor sounds good with C. Okay, so it's nice that they're a chord pair. They sound pretty good together. Kind of fun to play. So those are 2 of your chords in the key of C, the C chord and the D minor chord. Now let's go talk about the 4 main chords in the key of C. So you've got your C chord, index and middle, right? That's where we start. Okay, and then when I'm now looking at the left side of the paper where it says baritone version, C chord. Okay, now from there you're going to get to your A minor. Now I talk about this all the time, and then I notice people still will fight me on it. If you're holding your C chord, your A minor is just right there. All you have to do is add your ring finger on. You don't have to do anything with that. So don't do anything with that, and just add your ring finger on. Dun 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 dun. There's your A minor. Now you guys are as a bummer. You got F. So let's just get through the F situation. F is B flat on ukulele. People quit ukulele because of B flat, and they really quit guitar because of F. You guys can't quit, right? You're just something you're going to learn to do. In the beginning, it's going to sound terrible, and that's what it is. So to get to F, what I want you to do is put a bar here and the E shape in front of it. Okay, so here's E shape, but you're here and there's a bar. Okay, now we every single Friday we play the Make a Better Bar worksheet just for this situation. Your bar is here, E shape in front. That's what you're after. Okay, here's what's going to really come out. Yeah, I want you to not lose sleep over that. That's what it is right now. Okay. Eventually, you'll have enough hand strength here in the center of your palm that you'll be able to clamp down on this and it'll come out. But in the meantime, let that be your F chord. That's your F chord. It is what it is. You guys end up having to deal with that shape a lot sooner than the ukulele players have to deal with it. An F chord is going to come up basically every single day when you play your instrument. I mean, F, you're not escaping F. So just decide. Mine sounds terrible, but that's what Gary says it's supposed to sound like until my hands get strong enough. And then when they are strong enough, that will come out and I will be happier. But until then, I will be happy enough with, okay? And let it be that way. Seriously, I wish it would. I wish it was something else, but it is what it is. Guitars and baritones are really not meant to play in the key of C, but they have to because so much music is written in the key of C, and we are much happier on this instrument in G and in D and in E and in A, but because piano is tuned to the key of C. We can get that. Now, it does come up, hey, I learned to do this with a half bar with the E shape in front, and you can do that, and that's fine. Some people are a bit more successful with that. But the truth is, with baritone, you're going to be playing at so many bar chords, you might as well just play this one with a full bar chord as well. Okay, so can you do a half bar? Yes. Should you do a half bar? You should probably do a full bar. Okay, and then as soon as I say that, when you watch me play, I'm doing half bars all the time. Okay, that's the way I was taught. But what I have learned over time is this full bar is so powerful for opening up the rest of the fretboard that you probably are just wasting your time learning this one when you can do that one. Okay, let's run through all. Oh, and then G chord I didn't talk about. That's your ring finger. That's it. Okay. Now we're going to play Waltzing Matilda, the whole entire thing, top to bottom. We'll go slow at first. We'll speed it up. Here's the deal. When you miss a chord, and you're going to miss a chord, you don't lose sleep over it, whatever. You get on to the next chord. So if I'm going along and you see an F chord coming up and you're like, I got no hope of getting that on at this point, go to the next chord. Oh, that's going to be a C chord. Oh, I'll get that on there. Okay, and be there. Okay, now, those of you who are playing ukulele and baritone, tough call here, right? Because you've got to be in baritone brain when you get sheet music like this, and it's real easy to get confused. And I will, no doubt, as I'm playing through this, will make a couple of dumb ukulele choices when I mean to make baritone choices. So just know if you hit a chord and it's like, whoa, that's not right. Oh, it's because you almost certainly have your ukulele chord on. Guitar players won't fight that. Those of you guys with guitar background, your chords are the same in shape. Basically, you're just missing a couple of strings. So we're going to play through One Two Jolly Swag, through Waltzing Matilda, and I'll play the intro, and then we'll go through each. At the end of each verse, we'll have a little chat, and then we'll speed up. Okay, so the first verse, I'm going to go nice and slow, and see how close we can get. Here's the intro. It's in a different key. I don't know if I can do it. One, two, here we go. Once a jolly swag man camped beside a billabong under the shade of a coolibah tree, and he sang as he sat, and he waited till his billy boy on you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he sat, and he waited till his belly boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Okay, so far so good. Hoping things are feeling like uh, you're able to. Our goal obviously is to get the chord on by the first strum of whenever it's time to be on that chord, and then abandoning that chord in enough time to have your next chord on. Some chords, obviously, when you see a G chord, you're probably going to be 100% on that. You don't need to leave off the previous chord that much early to be there. But when you see an F chord coming, you may have to just strum once on the previous chord and then move on to getting your F chord on. And even when you're just singing on your own, you'll do that because that you need to be where you need to be on the first beat. But especially when you go to a strum along, if you're a guitar strum along or a ukulele strum along, um, you're going to have chords coming up here that are hard for you, and you're just always reading ahead. What's the next chord? What's the next chord? What's the next chord? And if it's a hard chord coming up like an F, abandon the previous chord in enough time to have yourself ready to play when that next chord shows up. Okay, let's go into verse 2. That one was I just using a thumb down program. This verse, let's do it with a 4-finger pluck. Okay. Um, by the way, the story here is there's a swag man, and think of a hobo, and he's dancing around the campfire. Okay. What's about to happen is a jumbuck, which is a little goat, is going to come down, and he's going to grab the goat and stick it in his tucker bag. Okay. This is the pluck pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down came a jumbuck to drink beside the billabong. Up jumped the swag man and grabbed him with glee, and he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Isn't that fun? So far, so good. That's a good trick. I never thought of. I'm always late for the tough ones. Yeah, right. And of course you are because it's tough to get it on. So when you know the next chord is going to be tough, just hit that previous chord once and then be working on getting your next chord on while everybody around you is doing whatever they're doing, and then you're ready at beat one of the next chord. Very. We want to get all 4 strums in, right, or all 2, or we want to do all the strums. But when you're learning chords, or when you have a hard chord, even when you've learned all your chords and you're a really good player, you see a minor 7th chord coming up, right? I can get that on like nobody's business. That is something I can do. But I'll still abandon the previous chord in enough time because I really want that to be something when I get there, right? All right, verse 3. Let's see. First time we did thumb down. Second time we did plucks. This time let's do thumb and let's do down and up, down and up. Remember the face of your fingernail is pointed down toward the ground. And when you come up, your finger stretches out and you come up with the pad. So your finger is actually doing this. Down, up, down, up. but you're going to do it with your whole hand open to help to counterbalance the weight. It'll be really very comfortable. Okay, finger down, finger up. Most of the work is happening in my wrist. Very little activity in my elbow. Okay, give it a try. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and up came the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down came the trooper, 1, 2, 3, saying, "Where's that jolly jumbuck you've got inside your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, saying, "Where's that jolly jumbuck you've got inside your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me." I want to redo that verse. I blew it at the end pretty good. Let's do it one more time. Up came the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down came the troopers, 1, 2, 3, saying, "Where's that jolly jumbuck you've got inside your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, saying, "Where's that jolly jumbuck you've got inside your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me." Gosh, I'm really fighting being in ukulele brain. These chords, obviously, as those of you guys who are playing both instruments know, they're very similar. And so you're looking at F and you're like, it's the same as C, blah, right? So that's what I'm fighting right at the moment. Those of you who are straight baritone, you're like, what is he fighting? What is he doing? Just play the chords. Okay. Now, verse 4, this is your moment to do whatever you want to do. Okay, so if this strum is going well, do that. If this strum is going well, do that. If this strum went pretty well, do that. I'm going to do an arpeggio pattern. I'm probably going to do thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index. Through verse 4. When we get to the big finish, we all want to be putting a little bit of extra volume into it, so strumming in a way that's a little bit louder. Remember, at the end of this song, we have a tremolo. Open palm, index finger out like this. Make sure your fingernail is mostly pointed toward the ground. And when you come back up, your pad is actually running this. That's your tremolo, okay? And you go to the ukulele strum along, every single song should end that way. Okay, from the top, or from verse 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up jumped the swag man, he sprang into a billabong. "You'll never catch me alive!" Splash, and his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. "You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, and his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with..." Get ready for the big finish. Me, waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, and his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Okay, there's that. Um, those are your four chords in the key of C. Notice if you take those four chords in the order that they're presented on the paper, C chord to A minor to F to G, you've now written every single song from the 50s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you do four beats of each, and it'll sound like Duke, 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 Duke of Earl, Duke, Duke, Duke of Earl, Duke, Duke, Duke of Earl, Duke, Duke, and go through that. It's a good exercise for you for your fingers just to get where they're following into the correct patterns. But it's also a lot of fun to just then think of goofy words to go over that, right? I'm playing baritone today and it's sounding pretty good, except for the F chord. I don't know how long I'll be able to listen to the clunking of my F chord. So, so write a silly song just using those four chords. Start with C, end with C. You can mix those chords up in any manner in between, and you can write your own songs very quickly. Let's look at the rest of the book or the rest of the piece of paper that you have. Tonight, I'd love for you to work on Kookaburra. I'm going to give you one verse of Kookaburra. Every single verse is exactly the same on Kookaburra. So the words change, but the melody doesn't. The difference is instead of playing a G chord, you're going to play a G7 in that song. Okay. So it goes Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree. Merry, merry king of the bush is he. Laugh, kookaburra, laugh, kookaburra, gay your life must be. And there's five verses of it. They all sound exactly the same. If you're a girl, were a Girl Scout, you probably know that song. If you weren't a Girl Scout, you probably don't know that song. And so it's all over the. If you need a reminder, it's on the YouTube. But it's a really good one for practicing getting your C, F, C, F, because that's going to come up in your life. And playing C and F over and over together is a good idea. Down at the bottom, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Okay, so you got that one. On the top, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Okay, so you got that one. And then finally, Danny Boy. Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling. From glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you, must go, and I must buy. So it's all of those songs are there for you to strum and sing. 80% of you are not singers. Those of you who are, um, put your heart into this because when you're a singer, you will be doing a lot of chords to back your voice up, and I want you to be really solid on all of your chords. If you are just going to do instrumental track, you still got to know these chords. And so, an easy way to do it is just go through, hum the song as you're singing it. And that way, you're not actually singing and, running the risk of people laughing at you. Um, now, let's talk about your next level material that you have today. I've been kind of rushing through each day and haven't had enough time to really talk about it. So grab out your All Through the Night and I'm sorry, After the Ball and Alouette. So let's go grab those two pieces because tomorrow's concert day. We want to talk about how to survive concert day. So grab, let's start with After the Ball. We talked about this one on Monday and love this song. We will play it all three ways tomorrow. and so that means we're going to be have to be so get here on time, and we will start right at on time, and we'll get everything in. But remember, just the beginning section, you're in C, right? After the, and then you go that F chord, ball is over. After the uh, break of dawn, you get your D minor. After the dancers leaving, after the stars are gone. Okay, so we'll play it with chords, and I like to play. When we're playing together, I try to keep the beat real steady. Try, don't always, often I'm not successful, but I try. But when you're at home, your real goal, if you're a singer, is just, hey, what's the least amount of work I can do to get from that chord to this chord, back to that chord, over to this chord, to this chord. So that's what you think about as a singer and as a chord player is, hey, I am wanting to do the least amount of work possible over here so I'm more accurate. Okay. Next way we'll play this tomorrow is with the tablature. Those of you that are newer, this is an area to work on. Okay, and so on. So one note at a time. In my mind, that's probably the most important part of learning to play ukulele. And as an instrumentalist, is that next level player where you're in charge of the instruments actually doing the work for you. Playing melody is super important. And then, of course, those of you guys have been around a while, you know about your Tough Uke program, and that's where I really want to get you. And so you would be playing F at the three. Take it off. 1, 2, 3. Two C chord O ones. Okay, and we'll be doing that. Um, Tanya says, I like the D minor in measures 23, 24, and 29, 20. Oh, you want? Oh, yeah. Change it out. Change it out. No problem. Um, if you could read them all. Okay. If you like changing it out, uh, I always really encourage you to do that. So if you're, because I put stuff in, and that's got a little more standard issue stuff. Um, but it absolutely, if you feel like, oh, a D minor sounds better, do it. Absolutely. Don't ever hesitate to think, well, maybe I'm doing it wrong. It's your ears. You're the artist. You get to decide when you come in. Um, he said D7, but D minor sounds better. Just write yourself a note on there and do what you want to do there. And I am not the final authority on all that. And frankly, a lot of times, even the original composer, a lot of times I'll take some of the sheet music, somebody that's officially published, I'll put it all into the thing, and I'm like, no, 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 this isn't right. And I'm looking at the original composer stuff, and I'll change it on purpose because um, our sensibility has changed, or the music just flows better off of our ukulele and different with a different chord there or something. Very common to change out a chord that you're like, well, that sounds fine, but this one sounds better. That's a very common thing to do, and not something you should at all feel shy about doing it. Um, Linda says the D minor stretch to the fifth fret in baritone is super hard. Now I won't complain. I'm on ukulele. Just so you know, Linda, I make them do that on guitar. Okay, so yeah, this business of getting your pinky finger out and away, my pinky finger is basically sore all of the time, right? Because I'm constantly doing this. Okay, and uh, it's something you'll get better at. And yeah, but that D minor stretch, D minor pinky here, okay, for me, not that big of a deal because I also have to do it on guitar, which is even further. But if you've been playing ukulele and you come to baritone, boy, that's a long way away. Having big hands is helpful. Not necessarily, it's a mixed blessing, right? Because then usually with big hands, then you have bigger fingers and they're hard to fit into your A chord. So you got after the ball to work on tonight, especially those of you guys have been through this one time. That I want to see. I want you to start to feel like, hey, I'm tackling tough uke every time we play. I'm tackling melody. I'm tackling the chords. I'm not. And I'm looking for places where I don't understand what I'm doing, or problem places where I'm really struggling. And then we talk about that's what the chat box is for. Is you're like, hey, I don't think that's right, or I don't know how to do that well. And that's really what I hope that you come here for. Is hey, I have some questions, and we see if we can figure them out. Your other song, Alouetta, is actually somewhat more instructional. So let's grab Alouetta out next. Um, I meant D minor 7, which doesn't use the fifth fret. Oh, Tanya, all right. Okay, Tanya is going D minor 7th. Well, this is what is this? This would be a D with an A on the. This is just plain old D minor, but a regular D minor is this one. Um, D minor 7th is D. Yeah, could put that there. Just use a regular D minor there, I think, instead of. But the D7 is fine. D7 gives you more urgency to get to the next idea, but D minor is a little softer, a little more dark. All right, Alouetta. Let's talk about that one. This is different, okay? And for you guys that are, I didn't think I meant. Yeah, you meant D minor. You were right the first time. When we're digging into baritone, transposing is a real thing that you're going to have to do. So your song with Alouetta is in C, right? So Alouetta, gentille Alouetta, Alouetta, gentille plumage. That's a real thing, okay? But you might need to play it in a different key. And so if I'm in C, what if we played it in D? What's D's best friend? D, E, F, G, A. Well, D and A are going to work together. So I'm going to play a D chord, and I'm going to put it with an A7. And then see how that sounds. Alouetta, gentille Alouetta, Alouetta, gentille plumage. Okay. E chord on the baritone is a good chord, right? E, his friend, E, F, G, A, B is your B7. And then I would play that. Alouetta, gentille Alouetta, Alouetta, gentille plumage. Okay, next chord is an F. You're not playing anything in F unless you're required by law. Okay, so you skip that one. What about G? Oh, G's best friend, G, A, B, C, D7. Alouetta, gentille Alouetta, Alouetta, gentille plumage. Okay, see? A, A's best friend, A, B, C, D, E7, right here. Alouetta, gentille Alouetta, Alouetta, gentille plumage. Okay, now B is nobody's friend. So now we've done 5 different chord pairings. And where do you find those chord pairings? It's on your circle of fifths. So tomorrow we will be having you pull that out and going through and agreeing what your chord pairs are. But I just did 5 different ones for you right in here, based on this idea that C sounds great with G7. There's 5 readily playable keys on the baritone, so you want to be able to transpose. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Next tomorrow we'll play Alouetta as a melody piece, and those of you who are newer, should definitely be up your alley. It's mostly 1s and 3s. Going. There's a 5 in there. Your pinky is going to hit that 5 when it shows up. Other than that, it's all 1s and 3s. And so that's a song you can work on tonight. Make sure it's going well. And those of you guys who've been around a little while, okay, obviously you know what you want to do. Tough uke, you've got this. So tomorrow we will play both of those tones through as well. And so what I would do tonight is you're getting ready for concert. I'll take a look at our list. Our list says we're going to do that Make a Better Bar worksheet on baritone. I'd have that at the front of my book, and I would open every single day when you practice, sit down, and just run through that Make a Better Bar thing. We're trying to build the strength here. Next thing on there, baritone circle of fifths. You're going to tell me the chord pairs that make the most sense by looking at the circle of fifths tomorrow. We will play After the Ball and Alouette, three different ways. We will play Frere Jacques. For those of you who are brand new, we'll play that a couple of ways. We'll play it with melody, and then we'll also play it with the chord. And then we'll grab a couple of the songs out of the little book and play those. Um, just fun strumming stuff, as well as we will run through some of the stuff on the key of C strummers. So probably Kookaburra, maybe Danny Boy, the stuff we worked on today. We'll play a couple of those, and then we've got to run some major scales tomorrow too. So get here early tomorrow. We'll start right on time, and we'll see how much of that we can knock out tomorrow. It's quite a bit of stuff that you've learned. Week one, for those of you who are brand new, and for those of you who've been around a while, hopefully that review, even though it's a lot, is all starting to make sense to you. And really, your only new tunes that you're diving into are After the Ball and Alouette. After the Ball is a real tune that you would actually use in real life. Alouette is really a nice song for learning how to transpose music. And so, again, we'll talk about that in a little more detail tomorrow. But that's where we're headed. And so I can't believe it's Friday already. And so, questions, comments, or concerns, that's what the chat bar is for. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and go out and do good. Be safe. Keep practicing. That turns out that's going to be helpful. And I don't know anywhere else you would spend any baritone time. I'm not positive anything else is going on in the world of baritone. Keep showing up here, and we'll make it happen. All right, Jerry, get us some oxygen, will you? Thank you. Good to see you, bud. Things are getting in. Things are gelling. Oh, good. I was like, I thought it said things are getting in the way, and I'm like, oh no, what's getting in Michelina's way? The second time you go through this stuff, it starts to like you're like, okay. The first time I heard it, it was like, what is he talking about? The second time you hear it, I was like, well, I know. I wish he'd move on. He's already talked about that. So that's funny how education works that way, isn't it? You're welcome, Michelina. Have a great day. Tanya, sorry about your smoke. It's really, I know North Carolina, you guys are doing so much better than us. I think we've had a really rough year out here in environmentally, and so hopefully things are better there. I'm glad I'm not down in the south that are getting yet another hurricane headed that direction. So, geez Louise. Um, Linda, I love the baritone. We're not afraid of the F. Don't be afraid of the F. It's okay not to be thrilled by it, right? But don't be afraid of it. It does come along. There comes a day, and it'll be a thing. And it just in the beginning, it's like, but it'll come along. Ray, good to see you, bud. Glad you're here. We have hurricanes that they've been going. I know they've been going Gulf wise recently. So I've been watching the show, not lately, but a few months back, we were watching a lot of the show Love It or List It. And apparently that's in Durham, North Carolina. They go around. And it's funny on this show. Um, there's the thing is they're gonna there's two people. One guy's going to try to talk him into selling their house, and the girl is going to remodel their house. And then at the end, they can decide whether they're going to keep the remodeled version or sell it. And in every single case, they should absolutely sell the house because what they found is way better. But she does such a beautiful job remodeling the house, and like, oh, I'm all emotionally attached to it. We'll stay. And so that's what goes on in that show. And it's from North Carolina. The part that drives me bananas is they'll pull up to these mansions, and they'll be like $3.5 million here in Denver, and in North Carolina, they're like, yeah, it's $12, and you're like, what? Wait a minute. So yeah, I'm always a little jealous that as I'm watching their shows, like, wow, they have way nicer houses for the same price that we have here. What the heck? So fun show to watch. Nice show anyway too. They're always kind of picking on each other like brothers and sisters. Let's see. Paley says I tend to cheat on the F bar chord by using two fingers on the first two bottom strings. It's easier for me to play. Not bad at all, Paley. It's an accommodation, right? So if you're like, all right, F chord's coming up, I can do this, which but I can also just play these two, right? If you can do a third finger, these two fingers and this, and then just don't hit that top string, that's a real F chord. Okay? That's not cheating. Well, I guess it is a little bit, but it's not teaching you a bad habit, right? There's F, kind of a weird F. Here's a much more complete F. Here's the F you really want to do someday. Okay? But in the meantime, yeah, heck yeah, you make accommodations. That's hopefully that's one of the things you're learning with me is that here's the piece of paper, adjust it as necessary. So, all right, guys, I will see all of you tomorrow. Go home, practice, get ready for your concert tomorrow. It's a big day, and I will see all of you tomorrow.